In 2010, a factory in Guatemala City disappeared overnight. Not to fire, not to war, but to the earth itself. The ground opened in a near-perfect circle and swallowed it completely. That sinkhole was more than 30 meters or 100 feet deep. People stared at it mesmerized. Sinkholes aren't science fiction. They're real, they're sudden, and they remind us that the ground beneath our feet sometimes isn't as solid as it seems. By the end of this video, you'll understand not only how sinkholes form, but also why they are appearing more often. Sinkholes don't appear only in Guatemala. As a matter of fact, they appear more in Florida. In 2013, a man was asleep in his Seffner home when the floor beneath him collapsed. His bedroom fell into a sinkhole, and in seconds, he was gone. Rescuers tried for days, but the ground kept shifting, and they could never reach him. For neighbors, the terrifying part, beyond the loss of life, was the realization that the earth beneath their own homes might be just as fragile. Some sinkholes are bizarre, even surreal. Take Kentucky 2014. The National Corvette Museum, a shrine for car lovers, became world news when a sinkhole opened beneath its showroom. 8 pristine vintage Corvettes were swallowed whole. Security footage showed the cars sliding into the pit like toys in a drain. For once, no lives were lost, but it became a viral reminder of how unpredictable sinkholes are. The cars were all recovered and some restored. The others are part of a permanent exhibit about this sinkhole. Half a world away, China's Guangxi region offers a different perspective. There, sinkholes aren't feared so much as marveled at. China has ancient sinkholes where land fell thousands or even millions of years ago. Locals call them tiankengs, or heavenly pits. Some are so enormous they could swallow entire skyscrapers. When explorers descended into one, they found towering ferns, rare plants, and animals cut off from the outside world. To stand at the bottom of a tiankeng is to step into a hidden world with a secret ecosystem. But sinkholes don't always appear in exotic landscapes. They've disrupted commutes in Rome, swallowed lanes in Ottawa, and cracked streets open in Tokyo. One moment traffic is flowing, the next cars are nose first in a hole that wasn't there minutes before. Sinkholes in roads make scary headlines. So what's going on? How can solid ground suddenly collapse into nothing? The truth is, the ground isn't always solid. Think of it less like concrete and more like Swiss cheese. Beneath us, there are hidden cavities, voids we rarely think about. Here's how they form. Rainwater seems harmless, but it's not just water. As it falls, it picks up carbon dioxide from the air and soil, becoming slightly acidic. When this water seeps through rock like limestone, gypsum, or salt, it slowly dissolves it. Grain by grain, drip by drip, the rock weakens. Over centuries, water carves tunnels, caverns, and hollow chambers underground. At first, the roof of these chambers holds firm. Soil, asphalt, houses, all supported by a ceiling of rock. But as the ceiling thins, it becomes a fragile shell. Then one day, the balance tips. Maybe it rains heavily. Maybe a new building adds weight. Maybe a water main bursts. Suddenly, the roof gives way, and everything above it is swallowed. Geologists divide sinkholes into 2 main types. Cover subsidence sinkholes creep in slowly. The ground sags over months, leaving depressions that deepen gradually. But the ones that make the news are cover collapse sinkholes. These happen fast, in seconds, and often without warning. They're the ones that swallow houses, cars, and entire city blocks. It sounds exotic, but sinkholes are more common than we think. And to understand where they strike, we have to look at the landscapes most vulnerable. Florida is practically built for sinkholes. The entire state sits on a platform of porous limestone. Water seeps down, eroding the rock until parts of the surface give way. That's why sinkhole insurance is a normal part of life there. Residents live with the knowledge that the ground beneath them is, quite literally, dissolving. Guatemala City has a different problem. The city rests not on limestone but on volcanic pumice, ash deposited by ancient eruptions. Pumice is light and airy, and it erodes quickly when water runs through it. Add heavy rains and aging infrastructure, and you get sudden collapses like the infamous 2010 hole that shocked the world. Likewise, China's Guangxi and Chongqing regions are part of what's known as karst terrain, landscapes defined by dissolving rock. This is where the world's largest tiankengs form. Some are so deep and wide they seem like nature's inverted skyscrapers, stretching into the earth instead of into the sky. Mexico adds a different twist. There, sinkholes or cenotes are filled with water. The Yucatan Peninsula is peppered with them, formed when underground caves collapsed and exposed groundwater. To the ancient Maya, cenotes were sacred portals to the underworld. Today, they're swimming holes for tourists, proof that not all sinkholes are disasters. Some are places of wonder. And then there's Rome. Built on soft volcanic ash, the city also hides a labyrinth of ancient tunnels, sewers, and aqueduct channels dug by the Romans themselves. Add modern water leaks and collapses are common. Dozens of sinkholes open in Rome every year, often revealing new ruins. For archaeologists, it's an opportunity. For everyone else, in the best case, it's just a reminder that history and geology have conspired to make the ground unpredictable. But not every sinkhole is natural. Some of the most dangerous ones are the ones we've created ourselves. When we remove too much from beneath the surface, be it oil, gas, or water, the ground sometimes takes its revenge. In Turkey's Konya Plain, farmers depend on groundwater for crops, but decades of pumping have drained the aquifers. The result? More than 2,600 sinkholes have appeared in just a few years. Some are the size of football fields, deep enough to swallow barns. Families have abandoned farmland because the risk is too high. The Dead Sea between Israel and Jordan faces a similar fate. The water level drops more than a meter each year as rivers are diverted upstream. The newly exposed land is laced with salt deposits. When fresh rainwater trickles in, the salt dissolves instantly, and the surface collapses. Entire date orchards, roads, and even tourist resorts have been swallowed. What used to be a paradise of beaches is now dotted with fenced-off danger zones. In southwestern Iran, oil extraction leaves invisible scars. As hydrocarbons are pumped out, empty spaces are left behind. Over time, the ground sinks. In some regions, it drops by more than a centimeter a year. That may sound small, but across cities and oil fields, it warps roads, tilts buildings, and weakens the land. Eventually, collapses can occur, not as sudden as Florida's cover collapses, but devastating in their own way. And in Louisiana, a different disaster unfolded. In 2012, the Bayou Corn sinkhole appeared after decades of salt mining hollowed out the ground. It began as bubbling gas in the swamp, then a patch of trees collapsing. Within weeks, a sinkhole the size of 20 football fields opened up, swallowing swamps and forcing the entire town to evacuate. Today, Bayou Corn is a ghost town, erased not by nature alone, but by human hands. We often think of sinkholes as freak events, but many are the result of choices, of how we build, extract, and use the land. If you've ever wondered why sinkholes are happening more often, now we will answer that question. Some of it is human activity. Pumping groundwater faster than it can naturally refill weakens underground rock, especially in areas where it is porous. Oil and gas extraction leave empty voids beneath cities and fields. Heavy buildings, roads, or leaking pipes can trigger sudden collapses in already weakened areas. But it's not just pumping. Environmental changes are also at play. Extreme rainfall events dissolve underground rock faster. Droughts shrink soil and create cracks, which can collapse suddenly when water returns. Both too much and too little water can make the earth unstable. Finally, we're noticing them more. Satellites, drones, and media coverage mean more holes are being documented. Some areas genuinely see more collapses due to human pressure, while others are simply being reported more often than before. The takeaway is clear. Sinkholes are no longer just rare curiosities. They are an increasing hazard, often connected to how we interact with the earth, whether through extraction, irrigation, or urbanization. Sinkholes strip away one of our deepest assumptions, that the ground is permanent. They don't roar like storms or rumble like earthquakes. They arrive in silence. Sometimes they reveal hidden worlds, forests in China, sacred pools in Mexico. But sometimes they take lives in an instant with no warning at all. From Guatemala's sudden craters to Florida's tragedies, from Turkey's collapsing plains to the abandoned resorts of the Dead Sea, the story is the same. The ground we trust is temporary. Beneath us, water is still carving, salt is still dissolving, pressure is still shifting. Sinkholes aren't just holes in the earth. They are betrayals of certainty, reminders that stability is fragile, and that even the most solid ground can vanish beneath our feet. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to keep uncovering the hidden forces that shape our world, please subscribe.